Welcome back to Ask the Attorney. I'm Amy Rao Mohan here with Kevin Kennedy, and we've had lots of great calls today on all kinds of legal issues. And we've got more to go, and I'm sorry I cut Dot off earlier. Dot, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, sorry about that.
Go right ahead.
I'd like to know, I found myself in a terrible financial situation. I've got credit card bills that I can't pay because of my high housing costs. In 2 more years, I'll have one of my mortgages paid off, and then it won't be any problem. But currently, I've been trying to pay who I could, but I've gotten down. If I'm going to keep up with my mortgages without a foreclosure, I'm having a real problem paying my credit cards. I understood that if they can put a lien on your property. Could you tell me what the law is on that in Tennessee?
Well, usually a credit card is considered an unsecured debt, meaning you owe the money, but they don't have any mortgages or liens. They do have a right to sue you, and many times you go get a lawyer, they negotiate those settlements. And what would be typical? A lot of times they'll settle for a third. So if there was a $10,000 credit card bill, and you say, well, that'd be great, Kevin, but I don't really have a third to pay. Well, a skilled lawyer many times can negotiate the payment arrangements too. And so you could cut what you would believe to be a $350 a month payment, could be cut down to a $100 a month payment. And because why would they negotiate that? Because the fear that you would file bankruptcy and wipe that completely out. So that's something for you to consider. If they did get the judgment and they were trying to bully, can they go file a lien on the home? Yes. Realistically, would they foreclose on your home over a $3,000 credit card lien? Probably not. So that's where I'd say a skilled lawyer would be good to try to go in and talk to, hear what their ideas are, and if it was some money, you could pay them some money and let them try to negotiate their way out of this credit card problem. And it's amazing. I've seen some that are shocking with so many credit cards, and yet they were able to dance a jig all the way through that. The squeaky door gets the oil. Take a proactive approach. Take a creative approach. And if the lawyer says, no, you can't do it, I always say, get another lawyer. And let's hear what he's got to say. A lot of ideas we come up with at the Kennedy Law Firm, not all of them work, but there's a lot of ideas that do work.
All right. We've got lots of calls here, and keep calling that number at the bottom of your screen, 737-plus, 737-7587. We've got Karen, who has been waiting patiently. Karen?
Yes.
Hi. How can we help you today?
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I have sort of a complicated situation. I love my stepson very much. I have a husband and a father here that really wants more time with his son, and I think that's wonderful. However, we're having a hard time choosing a lawyer. The situation is that his ex is friends with her lawyer. Her children go over to my stepson's house day and night. Those children go over my stepchildren go over to her lawyer's house and stays the night. So it's a big, happy family out there.
Yes, I understand.
And her lawyer is related to a judge that is in the town next door to where we go to court.
Yeah.
I'm afraid there's too many friends going on, and I'm having a hard time choosing a lawyer because I know everybody kind of socializes at the same events and that sort of thing. So,
well, here's what I do. We hear that from time to time. Is there really some undue influence around there? You don't know. But as a general rule, I always like to get a lawyer in that county. Because they do know how the clerks and everything, they know the local rules. On the converse, if I had one that I thought that an out-of-town lawyer would be appropriate, the Kennedy Law Firm goes to all kinds of counties all the time.
We were just talking about this before the show.
And absolutely. Yeah. And so that's what I would make a recommendation for you to consider. And one of the things they say, Kevin, what kind of lawyer would you hire? Would you hire an inexperienced lawyer with a lot of time, or would you hire an experienced lawyer, but he has no time? And Kevin Kennedy's answer is, I'd hire the lawyer I could trust. You take a man that you can trust, you can do a lot with him.
All right, good advice there. Got Tyrone here. Hi, Tyrone.
Yes, I'm here. How you doing?
Great.
Good, how are you?
Good to talk to you. What's your question tonight?
My question is, I have a child support case that's been going on since 1995.
Woo!
And I've been fighting it from California to Tennessee. My ex-wife that I'm having the child support problems with, she opens and closes the cases. And what she does, I've been paying child support since then. I do not get to see the kids. I do not get to visit with them or pick them up. I'm supposed to get them on my birthday and Father's Day. I don't get my visitation with the kids, but I'm ordered to pay.
Yes.
I was put in jail for 6 months because my ex-wife was jealous because I got married and I started a new family. So she got mad and put me in jail for 6 months.
Jealousy is a horrible thing. We understand exactly what you're sharing.
So the problem that I'm having now, I paid over $43,000 in child support, and I'm still not able to get what my visitation. I hired a lawyer in Nashville, and this lawyer gets in front of the judge, and he doesn't talk. He doesn't open his mouth. So the judge doesn't grant my case. So he wants more money from me. I gave him $900, and he has my documents and all my forms, and he won't give them to me. He's asked for more money. But
Okay.
I don't trust this lawyer.
All right. Well, here's
Sounds
what
like a
I would
problem.
say. 2 or 3. You raise lots of issues. One issue is, always try to keep copies of all your documents. I like to tell the clients when they bring theirs in, we'll take a copy, you keep a copy. We could lose something, you could lose something, and we work together as a team. The issue about visitation and child support, Tennessee law is clear. They are, you say, hey, I'm not going to pay my child support unless I see my children. The judge will not buy that. The law won't substantiate that. So you're going to have to pay that child support, whether your visitation is right or wrong. Your visitation, you've done what you had to do. You took a lawyer, file it. If there gets to a point you and your lawyer don't see eye to eye, you don't think he's aggressive enough, or he won't advocate what you told him to advocate, then I would certainly consider changing lawyers.
And he needs to give you back all of those documents at that point.
Right.
Too. All right, we've got Jay here. Hi, Jay.
Good evening. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Glad y'all were on tonight because I needed a quick answer.
Let's hit it.
Okay.
Mr. Kennedy, on my family's land, we've had a registered beefmaster bull shot and killed by trespassers, and of course that's big money.
Right.
But we don't live down there. I mean, me and my father don't, but we go down there on the weekends and some during the week. But one of my dad's best friends ran up on to the bull where it was shot and killed, and it's been shot 7 times.
Ooh,
and the 2 guys that my dad's friend ran off of course they're juveniles. They're 2 young men. But the TWRA is investigating it. The sheriff's investigating it. This happened about 2 weeks ago, I guess. What do we need to do? My dad, of course, and I both are furious, and of course, it's money, but. Can we sue their parents? Or, I know the TWRA is talking about taking their guns. If they're found guilty, of course, they're doing, the tests on the bullet and all
Yes.
that. But I just wondered what we could do, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure, and that's horrible, and I'm so saddened to hear that. I have a horse farm, so I know what it would be like if someone shot one of those horses.
Yeah.
First off, that is a criminal charge. That is a crime against the state. Now, you're the victim, and those kids can be charged, and as part of the court verdict, they could be made to make restitution on that animal. And so there's a lot of gray areas. And so what I would be listening to is say, are they going to pay the restitution? Obviously, if it was in reason, Amy would pay restitution on her children. Mr. Kennedy would pay restitution on his.
Or they could face a civil suit for property damage, since I believe animals are still property in Tennessee, I think.
And so you could pursue it that way, of course. Some people might say, well, these kids, they don't have anything. They come from a family that does. Those are things that you'll have to evaluate down the road. But realistically, they committed a crime, and that is restitution. I was involved in one very similar, 4 boys. And the judge said, well, y'all are going to have to pay for all these. They stole some guns. And they said it's $10,000. And so the judge, he was pretty slick. He told all of them, he says, well, y'all going to pay the $10,000 or you're all going to the boys' penitentiary. And then the lady that I represented had substantial means. She said, well, I'll pay my $2,500 and we'll get our son out. The judge said, no, it's going to be joint and several liabilities. So somebody's going to have to pay this 10. And so then, of course, my client was going to do whatever to keep theirs out of jail, and they paid it all. Now, was that fair? I didn't say it was. I said that's the way it was. And of course, when you get into court and you get your family in jail and you get, I was the first lawyer, and of course, we had to appeal those decisions, and we danced a jig. I was the first one to file. I like to be the early bird. I like to move fast, and I don't like to always move faster than other lawyers. It really wasn't that I was always smarter than other lawyers, because in fact, I think many lawyers were smarter, but I was faster.
We've talked about it before. It's one thing to get a judgment, and it's another to collect, and it can
Absolutely.
be sometimes difficult. So, all right, we've got Carolyn here. Hi, Carolyn.
Oh, hi, Carolyn. Hey, I haven't seen my children for 10 years, and I had a judge had 4 restraining orders put against me, and the judge was Judge Aaron Holt. And I thought it was strange that I had the same judge each time, and each time the judge, without evidence, said he granted the restraining order. So I'm a mother here, and I've taken care of my children for 30 years, and I'm not allowed to see them. Now, the last time, he said that my son said that I abused him, and I did not. Of course not. And then my son said that I was going to abuse his children. It was all way, way out of proportion. None of those things were true. However, I had a lawyer, Philip Dewar, and he said that I couldn't appeal it, or
Well,
something,
first
that it would
off,
cost too much, or something like that. But I haven't seen them for 10 years.
What's your
the
question,
last time
Carolyn?
was a restraining order against me, and they said it was, some cards, greeting cards, and I was picked up and put in jail.
Well, what I would say first in regards with, if the lawyer said you couldn't appeal it, everything can be appealed. Your appeal can be denied. Does it cost money to appeal? Yes.
And the time may have passed for it.
So, but I think a good point for her, that's true. You've got 30 days normally to appeal a case out of the circuit court. Some places are shorter. If you don't know for sure, file. One of the old lawyers that I trained under, he said, Mr. Kennedy, you file something, and we operate under a 24-hour rule a lot of times at the office. But back to what she was saying, that's a good point for us to get all the evidence we can have when we go for a restraining order hearing. If you have witnesses, if you have whatever you've got, photos, recordings. So many people would come to court and they'll say, well, I've got some photos at home. I didn't know I would need them. Or I've got them on my cell phone answer machine when they were threatening me. And I heard them also say they were not afraid. When you go to court, take everything, be prepared to present it.
All right, and keep calling that number at the bottom of your screen, 737+, 737-7587. We've got Mike here. Hi, Mike.
Yes, got a question.
Okay.
Yes.
You lose a family member, does the will always have to go through probate?
Okay, well, under Tennessee law, the will is supposed to be published. If you have a will and you don't publish it, sometimes, people say, well, I'm going to leave everything, but there was nothing to leave. There was no money, there was no property. So, but as a general rule, yes, the will has to be published. And the problem is, if there is a house and you never publish the will, that house is going to still be in the decedent's name. How are you ever going to get title? How can you sell it? How can you transfer it?
So do you have to go through probate?
I'd say you need to go through probate to get all those things cleared up.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but please keep calling that number 737+, and we'll be back with Kevin Kennedy after this.